requested to kindly explain this shloka from Sri Dakshinamurti Stotram. Bijasyantarivankuro jagadidam prang nirvikalpam punah maya kalpita deshakala kalana vaichitra chitrikritam. What is another request? Maya viva vijrumbhet tapimaha yogi vaya swechaya tasmai Shri Guru Murte namaidam Shri Dakshina Murte. Is a yogi like Ishvara wielding Maya? This one says Ishvara wields Maya like yogi, not the other way around. Ishvara wields Maya like a yogi. What is meant is, just as yogis such as Vishwamitra and others create the universe out of the sankalpa. Sankalpa means out of the resolve, out of the thought. Just as we saw in Chandogya Upanishad also, Tat Aikshata, that Sat saw, deliberated, resolved, Bahusyam Prajayaya, may I become many, may I be born. So this, you call it sankalpa or a resolve. And then the creation of the element fire, then creation of element water, earth and the whole universe emerge. Meaning that the whole creation is preceded by a sankalpa, a desire. As any action is preceded by desire. An action is always a result of some desire, some or the other desire in our mind. So before we do something, say, I want to cook sambar, want to make tea, want to build a house, build an ashram, build a dam, whatever. So before any action takes place, the action is preceded by a desire or a resolve or a sankalpa in the mind. And we require a lot of material. Having thought that I want to build a house, you need a lot of things. All kind of materials are required. Nimittakana is required, like architect, etc. Upadana is required, materials are required. But a yogi is able to create just out of his thought. He says, let there be a temple, and there is temple. Can you believe that? That's what you do in the dream. In the dream, the idea of mountain comes, there is a mountain. Idea of temple comes, temple. We don't have to seek any donations there. No problem, just comes. So, here the example of a yogi is given. Vishwamitra is a very well known yogi who created a special swarga or heaven for his devotee Trishanku. So Trishanku is the king. He wants to go to heaven with his body. He requested different sages, they refused, you can't do that. So Vasishtha also refused. Since sage Vasishtha refused, so sage Vasishtha, I will do it. Because, some kind of a competition is going on. At least Vasishtha competes. Vishwamitra competes. Perhaps Vasishtha may not. Anyway, therefore, he performed a yaga and managed to send Trishanku to the heaven with this body, which cannot happen. So he goes and sits beside Indra on the same throne. He says, hey, who are you? He just pushed, fell down. When he's falling down with his head down, he falls from the heaven to the earth. And sage Vishwamitra came to know that my devotee is falling. So he created a heaven in the space, a separate special heaven for Trishanku. Out of his will, sankalpa of his will. So just as a yogi creates out of will, all he needs to create is will. Just as in dream, all we need is a will to create So also yogi is an example. That's how Ishvara creates out of the will. Ishvara does not need more than will, just as Sat did not need anything more than just will, that may I become many, may I be born. And how this whole creation unfolded. Meaning that you don't require any tangible material to create. What kind of creation would that be? If for creation you do not have any tangible material and you create, what is that creation? It would be only what? A creation out of Maya, an appearance, not a reality. You follow? So just as a yogi creates whatever he wants to do out of his mere will, by the power of his yoga, so Ishvara creates his universe out of the power called Maya. So Maya is the cause and Mithya is the effect. So what is caused by Maya is Mithya. Thus Ishvara creates this Mithya. Jagat Vachayarambhanam Vikaro Namadhyam. Just as in case of a part, we have shown how the so-called part is only name. What is created here is not clay, because clay existed even before the creation of part. So what is created, what we call part, is nothing more than name and form. So what's the reality of name and form? Just word, what? Therefore, what is created is only name, is called Mithya. And the power by which, Mithya means an appearance. So power by which the appearance is created is called Maya. Again, Maya, here this example, this shloka gives the example of a yogi. You can also give example of a magician. How a magician by his power of magic creates. He takes a piece of newspaper and says, look at 2,000 rupee bill, note. Everybody looks, sees it's a 2,000 rupee note. Because they're under spell of his, his magic. So also everybody is under spell of Maya. Thus Ishvara creates the appearance of the whole universe. Mayavi, Vijnum Vetyapi Maha, Yogi Mayavi means a magician. Two examples of that in fact. Mayavi and Mahayogi. Mayavi means a magician. How a magician creates out of his power of magic, creates an appearance of what is not there, means the creation of magician is Mithya, or how? So that is the nature of creation, Mithya. How does a yogi create merely from his will? So two things are there. All that Ishvara needs is will and needs the power of Maya. So two examples are given. That's how Ishvara creates this universe. Now, we have seen how that even when the part is created, it is potentially present in the clay. Part is the manifest form and the part is present in the clay in the unmanifest state, right? Similarly, or you can say that when you see a sprout, you know that there must be a seed because without the cause, effect cannot be. So, two things are there. Number one, the effect is potentially present in the material cause, and then you can infer the presence of cause from the effect. Bijasyantari vankoro jagadidam prang nirvigalpam punah. Idam jagat, this universe. Bijasya antaha ankuraha iva. Just as within the seed there is a sprout. What he says is, sprout is potentially present in the seed. What is seed? The upadana, material cause. The effect, namely sprout, is potential. We'll see tomorrow, in fact. The example that the teacher will give in Chandogya Upanishad for a different reason, but here, that just as a sprout is present in the seed, in unmanifest state because you cannot see a sprout in the seed with your bare eyes. But you know that it is there because you both sow the seed, and what comes out of the sprout? Bijasyantarivāṅkuro jagadidam. So just as the sprout is unmanifest in the cause and in the seed, so also the whole universe is unmanifest. Jagadidam prang nirvikalpam. Before its creation was nirvikalpa. So Sadeva Swami Idam, so in Sat, the whole universe was nirvikalpa, unmanifested. So like a seed in the sprout in the seed, the whole universe existed in the material cause. Then Maya Kalpita Desha. Then what did Ishvara do? It's not the Ishvara to create something new. Ishvara, just as a pot maker does not create a non-existent pot, he brings to manifestation the pot which is already there in the unmanifest state in the clay. Similarly, Ishvara brings to manifest the whole universe which was in unmanifest state in the cause. And for that all requires is the power of creation. That's called Maya. Maya, so then how did the creation take place? Maya kalpita desha kala karana. So what is first created? Desha kala. So there is understood here. The space and time principle is first created. Desha kala karana vaichitra. Then you combine the space and time in different ways and you have the different names and forms. That's what this says. Maya kalpita desha kala. Desha means the space. Kala means the time. The space and time are projected by Maya, the projecting power. And by a combination of space and time, Vaichitra Chitrikritam, all this variety of universe of names and forms results from the union or combination of the space and time. So first space and time are created, then they are combined to create this variegated universe of names and forms. How? Maya Viva, like a magician. Mahayogiva, like a great yogi. Yes, Swechaya. So then why does Ishvara create? Swechaya, by his will. Is there a compulsion? There is no compulsion. Because normally when we do something, there is always a compulsion. Because the desire pressurizes me to fulfill itself, and so we do things out of desire, means out of compulsion. Swechaya, by his own will. So, this is how the creation is described. This creation is the projection of Ishvara, and the projecting power is called Maya. What is this projection? Which is an appearance, which is Mithya. Tasmai Shri Guru Murte Namaidam. Who is this Ishvara? Dakshinamurti. Who is Dakshinamurti? My Guru. So the salutation to Guru Murte, the form of my teacher. Dakshinamurti, who is manifest before me in the form of my teacher. To that Dakshinamurti, who is present before me in the form of my teacher, to him my salutation. That's the verse. Is that okay? All right. Is there rebirth for a jnani, for a wise person who has exhausted all the karma? No. So, moksha, liberation, one way of describing moksha, one way, is freedom from the repeated cycle of birth and death. Why is it described that way? Because birth is pain and death is pain. In between is series of pain. There may be moments of dukkam, 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 sukham, dukkam, 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 dukkam. So there may be a little bit of happiness, flashes of happiness in between, but basically the life is painful. Why, Swami? Why do you have this negative? It's not a negative, it's a realistic view. Because all throughout our life we suffer from a sense of smallness. I look upon myself as an individual being who is small, an insignificant creature. So however great I may be outwardly, inwardly I am keenly aware of my sense of smallness. That is dukkha. Then you start weeping and crying, that is a manifestation, but it's in there inside. So birth and death represent dukkha. So freedom from the repeated cycle of birth and death means freedom from all sorrow. That's what it means, and pain. And so moksha means freedom from pain once and for all, which also means attainment of happiness also once and for all. Meaning that dukkha goes away forever, never to come back, and sukha comes forever, never to go back. That's what we want. You want the pain to go and not come back, and happiness to come and not go away. That's called moksha. Which means that the agenda is complete. There is no reason for the birth to take place. We take birth for a reason. For agenda. What's the agenda? Moksha. Although you don't find people worshiping moksha anyway, but at least they have come for moksha. And everybody is trying for moksha the way they understand moksha. So you think that being wealthy is moksha, he will try that. Being famous is moksha, he will try that. Sarga is moksha, that's what he will heaven, that's what he will try. But knowingly or unknowingly, everyone is a mumukshu. So our agenda is moksha. And we will keep on taking birth one after the other until this agenda is over. Once the agenda is over, the need for birth is no more. So birth is the response to a need. What's the need? A desire. What desire? Desire for moksha. When that desire is fulfilled, no need remains, no agenda remains. So there is nothing now that will push me. It is my desire for moksha that pressurizes me to take a birth. That being resolved, there is nothing to now pressurize me. Therefore, since there is no need for the next birth, Ajnani is free from the birth. Then the body remains here. What happens to the subtle body? Subtle body, in fact that discussion will come tomorrow with Jivan Mukta. His subtle body, which is made of also a number of components, 16 components, they all dissolve and merge into their sources. Meaning that even the subtle body also as an entity does not remain. So if subtle body is there, it will be pushed to something that is not there. So there is no birth. Subtle body taking another embodiment is called birth. But subtle body dissolves here only. Na tasya prana utkramanti iheva samavaniyante. Upanishad says these pranas do not depart anymore. They get resolved here itself. Brahmaiva san Brahma apyedi. He was Brahma to begin with, and now he becomes Brahma. Okay? By knowing clay, we know everything about what is made of clay. But by knowing Sat, how do you know everything? By knowing clay, you know everything made of clay because you can see the clay. By knowing Sat, how do you know everything? So when you experience pot, you experience clay, right? You cannot experience pot without experiencing clay. Is that correct? So pots and pans keep on changing, but the experience of clay is consistent in all of them, isn't it so? Similarly also, when we experience this world or names and forms, anything for that matter, do we experience Sat? Do we? Can anything ever be without existence? Pot is. When can you experience pot? When it is. What it is Sat. So Sat is there in every experience. Except that we have to make a note of that. See, when we are too attached to this name and form of the pot, then we do not make a note of clay even though we experience it. Similarly, when we are preoccupied with names and forms, we fail to note that Sat also is being experienced, because just as without clay you cannot experience a pot, without Sat we cannot experience anything. And so it's a matter of taking note of Sat. That what is all superimposed upon Sat. This pot is superimposed on clay. But Swami, we don't experience Sat. Do you experience yourself? Am I there? Do you know that you are? How do you know? You are. When can you? Only when you exist, isn't it? So when you are experiencing yourself, you are experiencing Sat, are you not? And the experience of self is involved in all experiences. And therefore by knowing Sat, meaning knowing yourself, everything is known. Because nothing is apart. So let's go ananyatvam. Just as pot is non-separate from clay. And therefore, by knowing clay, the pot is similarly, the world and name is from non-separate from Sat. So by knowing Sat, they are all known. They are all experienced. Tomorrow we may have a chance to talk a little more about this. By the way, this lady made announcement yesterday there will be one class without consulting me. In fact, there are 2 classes tomorrow. Even though I said in the evening, it has not gone into the people's head. This still what? There are 2 classes of Chandogya Upanishad tomorrow morning. One class is at 9 o'clock, other is at 11 o'clock.
Amiji, I'm sorry, office told me that's why. Please, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, but people are, because they don't listen now. Even when I say it in the evening, because that's already fixated in the mind. But I don't know why office said that to you, whatever it is, but because that's why Swamiji completed a text today. So they think, no, there is no class. No, that text is completed, so we can have a class of Chandogya Upanishad. You follow? That's the reason. So you let everybody know, because many people are not here, but then let them, I will tell you 9 o'clock also. But people may make plans for shopping, Thinking it's all over, so they will go to Gita Bhavan and this and that, and all kinds of planning will be there. Already made. Oh, so there is second class? Oh, then I can't do that. You need just 1 minute and you plan something, All right. So, in case, we'll remind you again tomorrow, but you please inform, all people whom you know. How does a sadhaka know the progress in his sadhana? What are the indications to know that he is on the right track? More inward looking you become, more conscious you become of yourself. So closer we are to ourselves, more progress we are making. Or in simple terms, more sattvic than our mind becomes, purer the mind becomes, more cheerful you become, happier you become for no reason. You find that you become more compassionate, more loving, more kind, more giving, more other-centered, less self-centered. That is progress. That means the knowledge is coming to you. Ignorance is going away and knowledge is coming to you. So that is a simple thing. Am I happy? Happier than... So the measure is, am I more content than before? So that is our balance sheet. So what is the balance sheet of my self-satisfaction? Contentment. That am I less complaining? More accepting? More loving? More inclusive? So that's the sign of growth, spiritual growth. If that is so, you're on the right track, and you're here, so you're on the right track anyway. But do we need a spiritual world order to contain the materialist excesses arising from overconsumption and pollution, and to harmonize and harness its energies and exuberance? Do we need a spiritual order, world order, to contain the materialistic excesses, overconsumption, pollution, etc., and harness the energies, to the advantage of mankind? Do we need? There is already a spiritual order existing. In fact, the fundamental order is a spiritual order in the universe. What is spirit? Is God, Ishvara. So the truth of the universe is Ishvara. When he says Sadeva Somya, all that is Sat or Ishvara, meaning that the primary order is the spiritual order. But to sense that spiritual order, it is necessary to become inward looking. So purer the mind is, more aware we become of the spiritual order. You are not aware, so because the mind is so extrovert, spiritual order is the very self, is a spiritual order. And so, more inward the mind is, more aware we become of ourselves, a spiritual order, and less will be excesses, etc. But what is important is for the people to know that happiness is to be discovered from one's own self. Happiness is not out there, has to be discovered from one's own self. If that understanding comes, then the whole life direction will change. That I don't have to run after chase things for being happy. I have to be with myself to be happy. Then the way of life that I will adopt will not be a life that is dedicated to chasing out happiness and success out there, but in discovering the happiness or success which is myself. This basic understanding has to come. How will it come? That's what all teachers are trying to communicate. All teachers and Swamis, everybody, so many people are there, so many kathas are going on, so many kirtans. All of them are in fact communicating this basic message. That you don't need other things, you don't have to chase, but somehow the message reaches some people. It doesn't reach most people because the mind is not available to make sense of this message. Oh, that's what they say. They don't understand life. So it's dismissed. And So therefore, if the leaders, the people or leaders of the world, if the world leaders understand, then people will follow them. If a leader understands this and leads a spiritual life and demonstrates how I am happy without all these material possessions, then the demonstration that one can be happy without this stuff. I may try to demonstrate, but how many people will look at it? A few people. But then those leaders whom millions follow, if they communicate, not only in words, by their conduct, Yadidacharate Shrestha Tattadeve Tarojana, whatever a Shrestha Purusha, a leader does, people automatically follow. So when Mahatma Gandhi demonstrated this, he simply did not preach things. He lived, he says, my life is my message, not my words. My life is my message. So people could see, because you need some kind of an evidence, a tangible evidence to see whether these things work or not. It's nice to that non-violence and truthfulness are the basic principles, so what? Do they work? So somebody should demonstrate that yes, it works. When you see that it works, then you are inspired to follow. So millions and millions of people followed. That time, he left, along with everything also soon left, because replaced by people who are totally opposite of him. Totally extroverted, materialistic, greedy, and so forth and so on. Unfortunately. It's most amazing that moment the light went, all the darkness came, So, anyway, maybe I shouldn't make such all generalized statements, but what I am saying is, wherever leaders are demonstrated, people have followed. There have been other leaders, not as great as him, but there are. Whether it is Martin Luther King or it is, Nelson Mandela or XYZ, whatever. But people of that stature, if they demonstrate, then people will follow. Simply by preaching it doesn't work. You have to teach by example. Lord Krishna says that is not simply by preaching, it is by being an example to others. Because they see and do what you do. Yadidacharate Shrestha Tattadeve Taroja. Whatever a Shrestha Purusha does, that's what people do. See, all leaders are just, they are only consuming. And that's where they see the success in their life. What will people follow? They think that that's the way to do things. So there is already an existing spiritual order. But then, because the whole economics, the whole principle is wrong. The whole system is based on false understanding. That more you consume, happier you are. This is today's formula. So consume more, so we can produce more, so we can employ more, and so the prosperity will grow. At what cost? At the cost of people. So at more stresses, more violence. All stuff is a result of this wrong, violent system. And then you police and you all kinds of things, for curbing violence. And you create violence by wrong system to begin with. That's what it is. So the whole world is on the wrong path. What can you do? And people will only follow that because it's very attractive. It's very easy to invoke rajas and tamas from people. To invoke sattva is very difficult. You have both sattva, rajas, tamas, all are there. What is rajas? Rajas means consumption. Sattva means contribution. To invoke a contributor is very difficult because it involves a self-sacrifice. To invoke a consumer is very easy because that's what the sense organs want. So this is a system which is designed to invoke rajas, which is greed and consumption. Very easy to invoke. Whole capitalist system is based on invoking greed. Greed is a machine which drives everybody. More you get, more you want. They know this. So they exploit you. They become prosperous at your cost. Give a little incentive. You'll work, instead of 10 hours, you work 12 hours. Get a little more. 14 hours, a little more. But you get 100 times more. So this is a game that's going on. Anyway, nobody's going to listen to us anyway. And so, this is all our, what shall I say, outburst. That's all it is. Nothing more than that. Well, I like to read what is written here, but I will not announce it, Now the question. In puja, prayer, upasana, in puja, prayer, upasana, we externalize the divine, admiring their glory, etc. We also are to constantly remember Tattvamasi, that we are not separate from the divine. How to integrate these apparent two attitudes? What will be the train of thought for a jnani while being a bhakta? So Ramana Maharshi says, Bhed bhavanat sohamityasau bhavana vida pavani mata. That bhavana or meditation means upasana, meditation, puja, whatever you do. When you do that, abhida bhavana, that this is done to erase the duality. So I feel an apparent duality. So from this teaching we know the separation is our experience. Non-duality is our understanding. So what we want to do is to in fact align the experience with the understanding. So now the understanding is in fact what Ishvara is what I am. But what is my feeling right now? That I am a jiva, separate from Ishvara. So all pujas, prayers, upasanas, all religious practices are done based on my present feeling that I feel that I am a limited individual. That's my sort of experiential conclusion. And so all pujas, upasanas, all of them are based on my present experience, present feeling, or present state where I feel that I am separate from Ishvara. I know that there is oneness, but I feel that there is separation. So based on that feeling, I perform this with prayer in my mind that let this duality be erased. So I am functioning in duality to grow out of duality. So all these pujas, prayers, upasanas, they can be compared to a pole vault, old pole for vaulting. So we use all this to rise from this duality to slowly and slowly to a point where then we can, by contemplation, we know the non-duality. And so this is how puja, all of these are means for knowledge. Provided in our mind there is understanding. All of this is done for erasing duality and not perpetuating duality. The karma yoga is performance of karma to ultimately become free from need for karma. And so also all prayers and worship is done with this prayer in my mind, that Lord, please help me erase the distance someday so that I can discover the oneness with you. And therefore, that oneness is in intellect and duality is in the heart. So now they have to align. So from heart I do all of this with understanding that this is meant to ultimately grow out of duality. So these two are at different levels in our being. You are thinking of Tattvamasi here, and you are praying from here. So there is going to be an alignment between two. That is why all pujas and prayers are done. So again a question about Linga Sharana and Jivan Mukti. We will be discussing, we already talked about it, but tomorrow this topic will come out, Jivan Mukta. So we'll talk about it further. Okay, any questions left?
The Upanishads say that knowing that there is nothing more to be known or everything is known. Does that everything include the complete knowledge of the phenomenal universe?
Everything means what is essential. When you say that by knowing the clay, you know the part, you know the essential aspect of the part, not who made the part, what's the volume of the part, what's the weight of the part. Because all of these falls in the category of mithya, meaning that knowing all of that does not add anything to your knowledge of reality. So your question is, by knowing the Paramartha, do I know the Vyavahara? No. But you become free from need to know Vyavahara. Right now I have to know all sorts of things. Where does it come from? Who made it? This will remain of no consequence. When you know the truth, others will remain of no consequence at all. And therefore, to know what we call the details of name and form will not remain of any consequence. If you know it, you are happy. You don't know it, you are equally happy. So you don't feel that you are lacking in knowledge. So Swami says, suppose you want to learn Spanish, you may as well. Not that I'm incomplete without Spanish, but it's your free will, do it. So then what follows is out of joy, not for joy. Right now our knowledge also that we are pursuing of the universe is to get some gratification from that, intellectual gratification. Now when you get the self-gratification, there is no more necessary. In that case, even if you pursue this knowledge of some material science, it is not for joy, it is out of joy. Meaning there is no more remains a necessity. So doing something out of necessity is one thing, and doing something out of joy is another thing. You follow? So that no dissatisfaction remains, put it this way. No lack remains with reference to knowledge, that you are lacking because you don't know something.
Swamiji, in the afternoon lecture,
1 second.
in the afternoon lecture, when you talked about the tree exuding of sap, that especially when you talked about the branches, and you said that the branch dies and Jivatma goes out. Aren't the branches like the limbs of our body? I mean, then if I amputate a leg or something, then that we still the Jivatma is there in the rest of the body. It is a little confusing. Can you?
That's exactly what we said. That when one branch dries out, from that part Jivatma leaves, and the rest of the tree remains. So Jivatma withdraws from that branch, so the branch dies out. But the tree does not die because Jiva is still there. So there is no death as long as Jiva is, and what dies is the body. Jivatma departs. So this is an illustration as to how this tree is a live entity having a Jiva. As long as Jiva is in the tree, so long tree is alive. When Jivatma departs, if Jivatma departs from the entire tree, then entire tree gets dried up.
So would our body, if we amputate one limb,
It still remains, the Jivatma still remains.
it still remains?
Just as when one branch dries up, the Jivatma still remains in the tree, in the rest of the tree.
I thought that it was part of the Jivatma that left or something.
No, no. Withdraws from that branch.
It's like amputating a part of the body.
Like amputating part of the body. Right, yeah. Just, yeah.
Swamiji, I was following this chapter 6 right from beginning with an analytical mind also. And I found everything scientific, logical, and there was no contradiction from technical point of view also, whatever those rishis have written in those days. Now one point is here which I want some knowledge, more knowledge from you, because one example shows that when somebody is conducting a theft, a thief is brought by catching his hand before some people, then he is asked to hold the hot axe or hot iron. If he has really done a theft, he will burn and he will be killed by the officers of the king. And if he has not done the theft, then he will be saved like that. His hand will be... Even Saraswatiji has written in the Bhashya that the tooth protects his palm so that he is not burned. This is difficult for me to understand.
It'll come tomorrow. There is, yeah.
Okay.
I have heard that Ramana Maharshi had some operation which was conducted as his request was not to give any
Anesthesia.
anesthesia. By that, does it mean that he is able to detach his mind from his body?
Right.
How is it possible?
Yeah, that's what he demonstrated. A yogi can do. That's the kind of control you have over your mind, that you can withdraw your mind, concentrate and not remain aware of the body. So what happens to you when you are sleeping, and then if something happens to the body just as you do not know, when in the waking state also you can withdraw your mind, if you have cultivated that ability.
Swamiji, would this mean that the yogi wields the Maya or Maya doesn't touch the yogi? I mean, when compared to an Ajnani, we are caught up in the Maya. So, like Ishvara wields Maya, I mean, Maya is in his control. So, the yogi also, though, I mean, Ajnani continues in a body and the Maya doesn't touch him.
So you are talking yogi or Ishvara or Jnani, three things you used.
No, one is Ishvara is not, he's, I mean, Maya is under the control.
Master of the Maya, huh?
Now, we are talking about the other end is where the Jiva who is an Ajnani is caught up in Maya. Right. Now, the Jnani or the yogi,
Don't say or.
I don't know whether yogi and Ajnani are same, Swamiji.
When we use the word yogi, means it yogi, and jnani means jnani.
Okay.
The same, then we'll use one word.
They're synonymously different. I thought they're synonymous.
They are not. How can they be? The roots are different, meanings are different.
Okay, then I take it as a jnani. Would Maya not touch the jnani in the sense that he's not affected?
Yeah, is no more under control of ignorance or Maya. Meaning, you see, he lives in this world, so body automatically follows the laws of the nature, and it's not that he can fly, he can do what he wants. But Maya is not so much inability to do something. Maya is being deluded, wrong thinking. That he doesn't have. A wise person doesn't have wrong thinking. But he still is under the limitation of the body and everything else. A yogi can be a jnani, not that, but then a jnani need not be yogi, yogi need not be a jnani. A yogi is the one who has mastery over his mind. So he can withdraw his mind at will if he has gained that kind of a mastery. And so, yoga also means that invoking the different powers from the mind. So there are lots of powers, so siddhis are there. And depending upon what he has done, a yogi may have gained certain powers. But then he still can be in the influence of Maya. Because power can create a sense of pride or something like that also. So as long as there is kama, krodha, lobha, something or other, that is Maya is there. Not that yogi has to be, but it's likely that it's also after all a siddhi. Like a wealth is a siddhi, power is a siddhi, fame is a siddhi, and so also mental siddhis are there for yogi. And Yoga Shastra says that you stay away from this. Remain detached from the siddhis because they will distract you. So Maya comes as siddhis. The Maya comes as various temptations and siddhis and powers and sees whether you can retain your composure or you fall for it. So if you fall for it, doesn't matter how powerful you are, you're still under the influence of Maya. Don't fall for it however small you are. Like Nachiketa is a young boy and all kinds of tempters are placed before him. I don't want anything. So Maya could do nothing to him. And so two different things are there. So there is no temptation. Total vairagya. That's what a wise person will have. Okay, let us conclude with the bhajan, Swamiji.